All right, folks, thanks for joining us. We are currently live on the scene of the first draw at the 2024 USA Curling College National Championship in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. My name is Brian Lee from the Princeton University Curling Team. Joining me is my colleague.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nelson Rogers, also from the Princeton Curling Team. We're both very excited to be with you here today, chatting a little bit about what we're watching. We're going to have today on Sheet 1, RPI versus Nebraska, Sheet 2, Michigan Tech versus Yale, Sheet 3, MIT versus Penn State, Sheet 4, Toledo versus Minnesota. I think at this point we're going to be focusing mostly on Sheet 4, but we'll be sure to take you on a tour of all the games as we go, keep you updated as to the scores, any key shots we see coming up. We'll be sure to tune in on so you get the best of the action.
Currently, teams taking their practice slides. I don't believe the clocks are running as of yet. Art Platchek, the chief umpire, having given his instructions to the teams on the ice. While they do that, I think it would be we would be remiss if we did not thank some of the generous sponsors who've made this event possible for us here at Rice Lake.
We'll begin by thanking State Farm and Ashley R. Headley, the Dairy State Bank, CF Bank, making more possible, Edward Jones Investments, Forever Exteriors, and Real Estate Solutions. We make it easy for you.
Also, the generous support of Thrivent Financial, Toboggan Run Dental, the practice of Drs. Charles Chrysler and Rachel Engel, Cadillac Construction, LaPointe Tire and Automotive, and Rice Lake Weighing Systems.
Now, I believe, Brian, we're not quite at the. Oh no, we're playing.
Stones are in motion. Stones are in motion.
We're playing. We're playing here in Rice Lake, Draw 1 of the USA College Curling National Championship.
You know, you've made it in life when you've made it out to Rice Lake, that's for sure. Beautiful, beautiful time of year to be here.
And at this point, we're going to take the camera over to Sheet 4 on the far end. For the game of Minnesota and Toledo, yes.
Two regulars and very excellent ones on the Midwest circuit. Let's see what's going on over there.
Looks like not much in the house yet. Perhaps a draw from each team, maybe a bit heavy. We have Minnesota throwing now.
They are working furiously. The rocket looks like it will go into the house. Skip Tommy Lentz appears to be quite satisfied, and that will sit about halfway past the 8-foot. Ola Mattis is holding his broom down for Toledo. And again, they are coming down the ice and working furiously, although it is curling outwards. But it will edge it out, I believe, into the...
Fully into the 8-foot they go.
Very good.
Looks like Minnesota may be lining up to hit.
It's not immediately apparent who is hammer on these sheets.
No, but we're gonna take a pan out real quick to try and assess that. For those of you just joining us on Sheet 1, we have RPI, Nebraska, Sheet 2, Michigan Tech, Yale, Sheet 3, MIT, Penn State, and Sheet 4, our featured game of the day, Toledo and Minnesota. I don't know who has hammer on these sheets, Brian. I'm gonna do a little due diligence.
Sure. Well, in the meantime, let's introduce some of the players. On Sheet 1, we have RPI playing Nebraska. RPI being I believe, the Northeast Regional champion, and a very excellent team at that, and fine people all around. Skip is Jacob Lorelli, who bought a 3D printer with his last tax return. Third, CJ Tien. who also competes in collegiate ultimate frisbee and is a connoisseur of fine breads. Second, Kaisa Arnold, who knows more about typography than 99% of the population. Lead, Cecilia Fenstermaker, has an ardent admiration for the Postal Service, that is the United States Postal Service, not the electronic music band. And alternate Michael Anderson, who's befriended 2 other curlers' parents and is hoping to befriend even more. Nebraska also on sheet 1, coming in from Lincoln, I believe. A regular on the Midwest circuit. Coach is Nancy Myers, also chair of the college curling committee, who has flown a glider. Skip Alex Hansen has coached baseball for 5 years. Third, Seamus Hurley, who has double-jointed thumbs, not one but both of them. Britt Johnson, who's never broken a bone. Emma Whaley, who doesn't know how to ride a bike. And alternate Charlie Major, who has dual citizenship for the United States and Honduras. Let's take a closer look over at sheet 1 far. And my colleague Nelson has just updated the hammer on.
Yeah, so on sheet 1 we had Nebraska with hammer, sheet 2 Michigan Tech with hammer, on sheet 3 Penn State with hammer, and on sheet 4 Toledo with hammer.
And on sheet 1 it's not immediately apparent to me, but it does look like Red Rocks are shot.
I agree. Back of the forefoot there.
Yes.
It's an interesting position for yellow.
To ram? Oh, well, I guess that will clear up those guards, but that red is still making for a rather difficult takeout. At least from this angle. RPI looking to come in for what looks to be a draw, potentially trying to get a deuce.
Yeah, we have RPI without hammer playing the red stones. That's going to be a slightly unfortunate result for them. That's actually a challenging result for RPI, especially because they're not working the hammer, giving Nebraska really the opportunity to dunk up front a bit more and put some pressure onto RPI.
Well, this makes life a lot easier for Nebraska. I think this was it's not a valid strategy to hope that your opponent favors you or misses, but I think this is the best case scenario for them.
Yeah, I would say there's an interesting observation though, is that because I think RPI is shot rock in the back there, it may make it difficult for difficult to get a deuce.
That's true.
That
just rammed it out.
Not too much has changed after that.
Not immediately. At least I think we're getting towards Skip's rocks at this point. All games or I apologize, Vice's rocks from RPI. All games moving very expediently as they must under the timing regime that's used in these kinds of championships. Let's take a look at some of the other sheets and see what's going on there. We turn now to sheet 2, where we have Yale playing against Michigan. A notable absence from Yale is their regular skip Juan Recuaro, currently a senior in the physics department.
We see that Michigan is going to have hammer in this end. Yale playing the Yellowstones without hammer. Tough position seeming for Yale right now. They don't have too much in the way of guards to work with, and Michigan really has the opportunity now to put the pressure on with a tough hit. The hit is not trivial. There's stones in the back that could catch, so they'll have to be a bit careful with this one. A nice, just straight on the nose. don't get too fancy with the roll.
Well, let's introduce some of the players on sheet 2. In Michigan, we have Coach Gordon McLean, who founded the Copper Country Curling Club. Gracie Cohn-Skip, who founded Huskies Curl at Michigan Tech. Third, Resse Elza, who's also on the football team. Second, Bryce Doring. Jackson Armstrong got Bryce into curling. Lead, Tyler Magnuson, who is a first-year curler. And the alternate is Noah Patterson. He's the voice of Huskies Curling, and I suspect that you'll be able to get a taste of his commentary this weekend as well. We also have Team Yale, who, like Nelson just said, is playing currently with Yellow Rocks. Yale is currently skipped by Aaron Smith. Aaron once walked into the Luxembourgish Chamber of Deputies thinking it was a restroom. He was subsequently escorted out of the building. Third is Timothy Lee. Timothy Leard volunteered for lunch detention in middle school. Second, Harry Gold. Harry has walked at least 10,000 steps every day without fail since December of 2015. And lead, Bryce Sauvy. Bryce works on a Christmas tree farm. A very, very colorful team indeed of characters.
And that was a well-executed hit by Michigan Tech right through the port, and that will leave them lying 3 with hammer in this opening end of the first draw on sheet 2 of the USA College Curling National Championships.
Let's get a look at what's going on sheet 3 now, where we have MIT Red Rocks playing Penn with Yellow Rocks. That's Penn State, not University of Pennsylvania, although Sophie Legler is joining us this weekend, the previous Penn coach. UPenn was the champion last year, skipped by Sophie Legler. She's currently now a coach for Princeton University.
And on sheet 3, we have Penn State with hammer playing the Yellow Rocks. Looks to be an okay position. Going to be tough for them at this point, I think, to get a sure deuce here, because they have that shot stone. But it's going to be there's not quite an easy draw path into the 4-foot. You could go a little bit wider on the left side here, play a raise maybe at this point, but we'll see how it plays. Definitely conducive to a force for MIT without hammer.
Not quite sure if they're going to be aiming for weight here to try to displace the Yellow Rock, or just simply to get it into full 8 or even full 4 to cut them down. The rocks are coming in.
Looks to be wide.
At this point, I suspect so long as they're full 8, it's a little bit fast too, if you ask me.
Can we use one of the chairs in here?
Sure.
Can you, if you could scoot over that?
All right,
Okay.
so they are full 8.
They're awfully bad. That rock is completely in the open.
I mean,
I don't.
frankly, that could open it, expose itself to hit and roll.
Sure. I think the for Penn State here, playing the Yellow Rocks with hammer, it's a great opportunity to sink another one in there.
Yes.
Really put the pressure on to MIT.
I might add, there's actually Red Rock in the back. Looks to be also full 8, so I don't think this is really going to be terribly useful to them.
But this
So
is,
that rock's not going to achieve its purpose from what it looks like. Well, let's introduce some of the players on sheet 3. Playing for MIT, we have Coach Evan Mullaney, a longtime college curler, who's also started in his curling career with RPI. Evan is the biggest Duncan fan, indeed. That is a Massachusetts specialty. Skip Declan Galo. Declan's sister was also a college curler. Third, Polly Harrington. Polly's on the rowing team at MIT. Second, Alex Ruigan. Alex is one of the few anthropologists on the MIT campus. Lead, Alice Katchkin. Alex has tried making his own curling stones with concrete. I wonder how that turned out. Alternate, Brian Wong, who's bruised his rib once curling. And alternate, Matthew Callister. Matt has hypnotized his friend for a high school project.
we'll have to get Alex in here to hear how the concrete curling stones turned out.
Well, let's also introduce Penn State, a cast of colorful characters, as one can imagine. Coach is Matthew Anderson, who held the world record for Woohoo Loop on Mario Kart 7 for Nintendo 3DS, and a previous college curler, I might add, and a fine gentleman all around. Skip Mallory Wickline, who enjoys playing off-brand Sims games and winning at Uno in the curling office. It has only happened once. Third, Joey Martirano, who likes Taco Bell breakfast, and he sleeps only an hour each night. Second, James Dunn. He says, and I quote, "I love cats and cat girls."
Yeah.
Well, good for you, James. Lead, Rob Chappelle III. Rob is a former freshman of the year at Penn State Club Curling. Alternate, Thaddeus Buchanan Valentine. I don't believe there's a relation here to James Buchanan. Intercollegiate Pokemon champion. And alternate, Danielle Craven. Danielle is a Penn State tour guide and as a result is very, very skilled at walking backwards. Well,
Looks like we wrapped up the first end on sheet 2. Sheet 3. And that will be 1 for Penn State. And it will be that one that we saw sunk in the house there. And with that, I think we're going to pan over to sheet 4 to check out how things are going over there. And it will also appear that we have wrapped up the first end on this, and
Wow.
a wild score for who is that going to be?
that's Minnesota.
It's Minnesota
Yellow
opening
Rocks.
with a 4,
Boy.
and I believe that was a steal of 4
Yeah.
against Toledo.
Impressive. Very impressive indeed. So let's take a look at the score now for sheet 1, which I believe the end has been hung is right now. Let's see. It should be. And again, sheet 1 was the game between RPI and Nebraska.
You need this. Like the-
Appears to be obscured by a.
Sure.
Our view, unfortunately, has been obscured by a flag, but we know at least. Our understanding is that
We'll get that information. for
Nebraska
you.
has scored, but at least they did not get 5 points.
This is what happens when you have a makeshift system.
And that's going to be a 3 for Nebraska, opening their first end with a score of 3 with the hammer against RPI on sheet 1, draw 1.
Oh, you want to pork? Please.
And on sheet 2, playing the Red Rocks is Michigan opening with a 3 over Yale with the hammer. And on sheet 3, we are going to have a match of MIT versus Penn State. We're going to open with just a single for Penn State with the hammer. So MIT successfully forced Penn State in the first end of the matchup on sheet 3. So just to recap where we're at, on sheet 1, in the second end, RPI versus Nebraska. Nebraska leading 3-0. On sheet 2, the game of Michigan Tech versus Yale. Michigan Tech leads 3-0 in the second end, Yale with hammer. On sheet 3, in the matchup of MIT versus Penn State, Penn State leads 1-0, MIT with hammer. And on sheet 4, in the matchup of Toledo versus Minnesota, Minnesota leads 4-0, Toledo with hammer. And we're going to take us down to the close end to catch up on the action there. We'll start with sheet 1. So on sheet 1 here, we have RPI with hammer playing, appears to be the Redstones. I would imagine they're going to want some guards, some coverage in the front. They're down 3 right now, going to want to score their deuce here. Probably, so we're playing the hit. Not quite sure if the double is available for them. The red may be just in the way. But they'll want to get a good roll here, not leave a double in response for Nebraska. Doesn't look like it quite has the way. Maybe we were playing a lighter hit. But it will displace the yellow. Both yellows, kicking the back one out. Now, that's going to be a bit of a tough result for RPI because there is that double that is left for Nebraska. Maybe we see the back red making some contact with the yellow if Nebraska hits the red combination a certain way. But certainly an interesting situation. A great opportunity for Nebraska to capitalize on. They can split the house, set up the force, and take a lead with the hammer in the next end. I would imagine that's their plan to some effect at the moment. Here comes Nebraska's rock, and they will make the double, make a nice roll, a really wonderful shot to set up the force. Nebraska leads 3 with the hammer, and they are sitting 2. RPI has the tough task now of hiding rocks back there, trying to, put something there where Nebraska is not going to be able to get to it. That's going to be tough at this point without guards. One option is going, for a blank here. That would involve making a double at some point, but that's a very difficult shot. Tactically, I think the right thing here is going to be to hit one of the yellows and roll closer to the other, try and group the yellows. But it looks like they'll be going for the freeze or a guard. Not at all a bad call, just trying to set something up, produce some offense, so that they can try and get that deuce. And their rock will end up in the top of the house. Not quite sure if it is shot, but it does have some catchers behind it, so definitely an opportunity for that. But it will be Nebraska with the hit to lie 3. Again, really making that a strong force position for Nebraska, who leads without hammer in this game. And with that, we'll hop over to sheet 2. And on sheet 2, we'll go over a little more. We have the matchup of Michigan Tech versus Yale. Michigan Tech leads 3-0, and Michigan Tech is playing the Red Rocks. So Yale, with hammer, down 0-3, is going to want to produce some offense here. Looks like they do have some counters in the back of the house, but I don't know quite who shot. It's going to be very close.
It's between those 2 rocks that appear to be fully. From this angle, looks red to me, but the house is. The 4-foot is still very much wide open, and one could feasibly get behind that card.
Exactly, Brian. And so that's going to be a guard from Michigan Tech playing the Red Rocks. Now, an interesting choice. They probably wanted that to be a bit heavier because that actually gives a great opportunity for Yale to sink another one in here, maybe top 4, really put the pressure on, guard up their own rocks, get another counter.
And mind you, if it's heavy, there's plenty of backing.
Yeah, true. I mean, they're going to want to keep that in front of the T line, kind of prevent a net from forming for Michigan Tech to sink another one in there and really put the pressure on. They have a great opportunity to capitalize on these protected yellows in the back, but they'll need to make some good shots in order to remove those reds and bring those into play.
We unfortunately don't really have a gauge as to their weight control during this game thus far, but Skip obviously appears to have seen something that's caught his eye. Rock is coming in, but looks to be fast to me. Not immediately sure why there's a need to sweep that.
At
least I'll get rid of that red. But
interesting consequence. So,
not an ideal situation for Yale, despite initial appearances. Actually,
Yeah, that's going to give Michigan Tech the opportunity to draw in here. Either, honestly, they can go behind the guard, kind of line up with the guard, or they can just draw one into the open in front of that net of rocks. And either of those will be a great sort of insurance policy against keeping that rock in there.
And indeed, that appears to be what they want.
Keep our eye on this game as we zoom out and take a look at what's going all around.
Lunch delivery.
Oh, thank you, Sophie.
Get a Reuben and a chicken and cheese sandwich.
What do you want? I'll be Philly. Thanks.
Thank you. Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, that was Sophie Legler. She is the not defending, she's not playing anymore, but she was the victor from last year's USA College Curling National Championship with the University of Pennsylvania. Princeton has sniped her and they recruited her as their own coach. And Princeton is very grateful to have her on the bench. Looks as though the draw didn't come quite as they had hoped on sheet 2.
Not immediately sure. It does look like we're definitely well into the back end at this point. Well, we have an excellent view of what's going on here now on sheet 3. That's the MIT team.
And we'll zoom over there in our coverage of the first draw of the USA College Curling National Championships in Rice Lake. So here we have the matchup between MIT and Penn State, and it's going to be MIT with Hammer playing the Red Rocks. Strong position for MIT playing with Hammer and the Red Rocks. They're sitting 2. It is Penn State's shot right now, and they're going to want to sink one in here to really put the pressure on. Plenty of junk out in the front so that they can get one around, but that looks like it will be heavy. Not a result they're looking for at this point in the end.
Have fun.
We're joined here by. Would you care to introduce yourself? Oh, I'm sure lots of these folks will know who you are.
Yeah, my name is Tony Nelson. I'm the chair of this tournament from the Rice Lake Curling Club. I'm also the chair of the annual Rice Lake College Spiel that we've been having going on for 12 years. So thank you for watching. It's going to be a great weekend. We appreciate it.
And if I'm not mistaken, Rice Lake was the site of that was Kettle Moraine that was the Midwest Championship this year.
Yep.
Well, Mr. Nelson here is actually had the honor of throwing the ceremonial first rock for us.
Yeah, no, it was good. I'm glad that I made it in the house and I didn't get booed, so that always helps.
Great start to great curling.
Oh, absolutely. All right, well, I'll let you guys take care of it. Thank you.
Thank you for stopping by.
Yep.
Well, Pierce, so N2 is finished on sheet 3. We'll wait for the vices to hang up the placard and we'll get back to you with the score.
In the meantime, we'll jump over to sheet 4 for what looks to be the conclusion of the end there. Oh, and they'll be also kicking the rocks in, and the score appears to be certainly one for whomever is playing the yellow rocks. Brian, you're supposed to write it down.
Yeah, funny how that works. Yellow rocks here will be Minnesota, so more points for Minnesota, it would seem. Toledo, obviously.
And it looks like there is kind of some contestation, a technical timeout being called by the vices, likely to bring out the measuring apparatus.
You can definitely see the one in the front of the house and one in the back of the house. Yellow and red rocks currently under dispute.
going around now and taking a look at the scores. We'll start on sheet 1. Take a look at the action that has happened. And it appears we are still blocked. They're likely still in their break. We'll get back to you just as soon as we can about what happened there. But it looks like Skips will be making their way down to commence play in the third end of the first draw on sheet 1 of the USA College Curling National Championship. For those of you just joining us, we welcome you to our broadcast. My name is Nelson Rogers, and I'm joined here by my colleague Brian Lee. We are a constituency from the Princeton University curling team, and we are honored to have the privilege to comment on this broadcast and be your guide through this draw at the draw 1 of the USA College Curling National Championship.
Indeed, at the bottom of the second end, it still could be anybody's game on any of these sheets.
But the difference is opening up on sheet 2 as who is that? Michigan steals another 2. Michigan steals another 2 to lead 5-0 on Yale. We have that game here now, and it will be Yale playing Yellow Rocks with the hammer. Not if they can get a good one here, that would be ideal.
It's wide, if you ask me, but it might just. It might not. No.
Play is really staying towards the center here, and Yale's going to want to move that play towards the sides. They're going to want to keep it open at this point. They don't have a ton of side coverage, and what we've seen here repeatedly is that Michigan Tech is giving a clinic in these draws. You see they have one in the back of the forefoot there. We had a similar setup a couple ends before, and as a strong point, it's doing them well in this game.
And the rock is coming in. Nice and easy.
And that is a beautiful shot by Michigan Tech, right into the side button. Does appear that some of the button is still available for Yale. They're going to want to get this on. If Michigan sinks another one, that's going to be a really challenging situation for Yale. They'll have to start running things in, clearing up. They're going to want to bail, really get things moving.
If you ask me, that shot Red Rock, I mean, the closer one of the two might even be covering the pin.
True, our angle here makes it a little hard to...
And they appear to be blasting off that red guard. Perhaps
not with the velocity intended, but that's gonna help them out there.
A start to a campaign. This is no quick solutions available to them at this moment.
And at this moment, we're gonna pan over to sheet 3, and it looks like in a battle, we have MIT scoring 3 in the second end with the hammer, and now we have Penn State. MIT leads 3-1, playing the Red Rocks. This is at this point a pretty standard setup for both teams. It's not clear that either team has a foothold right now. We do see that MIT without hammer has their rock in the top 4. Strong position to start. Remains to be seen how the end develops. And then finally we'll pan over here, and it appears as though Minnesota has extended their lead with a steal of 2 over Toledo.
The house is quite open at this time, obviously running a little bit behind the others because of that measure they requested earlier in the second end. And Yellow Rocks are coming in.
At this point, we'll go back to sheet 1 to try and hammer out what the score was over there. The American flag. Now, the American flag is now slightly less in our way, potentially. Nope.
And
it appears the American flag is still in our way. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just 1 second. We'll go ascertain that score for you.
well, at any rate, it looks to be part ways through the third end, just about halfway through. And the house is wide open, with the exception of a yellow rock that was covered just now. But still very much anybody's end.
So that was a steal of 2 for Nebraska in their matchup against RPI. So as we head into the third end here, just to recap where we're all at, on sheet 1, the matchup of RPI versus Nebraska, Nebraska leads 5-0 in this third. On sheet 2, in the matchup of Michigan Tech and Yale, Michigan Tech leads 5-0. On sheet 3, in the matchup of MIT Penn State, MIT leads 3-1, Penn State with hammer. And on sheet 4, in the matchup of Toledo, Minnesota, Minnesota leads 6-0, Toledo with hammer.
And folks, I'm not sure if you saw that just now, but the yellow rock that was sitting, that was Nebraska's shot rock. RPA came in just by a hair and knocked it right out. And I believe it's currently sitting under cover. Now they're going to need to get rid of that guard in order to get to that red rock that's currently believed touching the 4-foot.
And this is, to be expected from Nebraska. They're up 5-0 at this point. They're going to want to play clean,
Yes.
not get too aggressive. And that was a nice peel.
Mm-hmm.
Clinical in its execution. Want to keep the house open, keep access to all the rocks available.
Jacob Lorelli appears to be signaling that he would like to go start playing towards the wings now. Now, RPI, I believe, does use the Midwest convention when it comes to giving giving handle from the skip.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit foreign to northeasterners such as ourselves.
Well, more like everyone.
Everybody else.
It's funny, Brian. One time I was playing with a young man who was from Wisconsin.
Oh, yes.
He was holding the broom kind of in the Midwestern convention. And I asked him several times. I was yelling down the sheet. I was saying, "Are you sure that's what you want? Are you sure that's what you want?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's what I want." This is the appeal, and it did not go the right way. So learned my lesson there.
Well, now Nebraska just wants to play it clean. I believe they want to just take out that shot rock there. It's unclear which one is actually closer, but maybe I think they could do the double. Certainly there.
Indeed. Princeton University Curling would also like to extend a warm thank you to Team Casper for their generous support in logistical troubles that were faced. Team Casper was instrumental in making sure that the Princeton University Curling Club had the proper equipment, and so we'd like to, in the public forum, acknowledge their contributions and generosity. A quick other, just to recount some of our sponsors who really made all this possible, just to name a few at this juncture: State Farm and Ashley R. Headley, the Dairy State Bank, CFF Bank, Making More Possible, and Edward Jones Investments. And we'll keep reminding you who these sponsors are, because really, Brian, it is instrumental in making these kinds of events possible.
These things are real. These things are truly an operation to run at any scale, I might add, and certainly that with these kinds of things would not be possible. These opportunities to extend curling to college students would not be possible without the generous support of all parties involved. Ooh, and that was unfortunate. Appeal for the yellow was misaligned.
I think it was perhaps just a hit, but it didn't come off in the way they wanted.
No, it did not.
And at this point, we'll go over to sheet 2 to catch you up on the action there. In the matchup between Michigan Tech and Yale, Michigan Tech leads 5-0 after another steal, and it will be on sheet 2, Michigan Tech with the Red Rocks. Again, really just in a strong position.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you got to guard that up, right?
Well, who do we have? We have Yale throwing out. Potentially, you might have to make the double here and roll behind cover.
Absolutely.
Oh, actually, sorry, I didn't.
No, this is Michigan Tech. That's
yeah. So they're gonna want to throw a guard just right on the center line.
Even a hair over.
Yeah, keep it easy. Nothing too complicated.
Absolutely. High is fine.
High is great. You're just yeah. High is good here. High is good here.
Well, not to the point of
because your out turn side is really close.
Absolutely, yeah. With that red rock sitting there, absolutely.
What sheet is that?
This is sheet 3. Two, sorry. Oh, nice. Okay, and they're sweeping furiously. Just gotta get it over the hog. Well, that's Well, certainly for now they're going to have the 3, but I feel as though that makes a somewhat easier shot for Yale. Although the question is, are you going to be able to hit the one that counts?
Salient point, Brian.
Skips and Vice conferring as to room placement. I think it is essential here that it be able to hit the middle of the 3, and indeed I think all 3 of them are probably touching each other and sitting in the line from this angle at least.
Yeah, not quite a triple available though.
No, absolutely.
They will want to hit and roll somewhere at this point. You can't really draw.
No.
They're going to want to move some granite. They're going to have to move those 3 stones if they want any hope of scoring.
Absolutely.
And they're going to need a multiple here to really stay in it.
Yes. Fair amount of room that's been given. And it's coming in. Ooh, okay. Well, that took care of one of them, but that's still 3 shot rocks for them at the end of the day. It looks as though.
And it appears, I'm gonna conjecture and say it's
Yeah,
another
that's-
3-point
3,
steal
yeah.
for.
Unfortunate, but let's see if the teams on sheet 3 are having better luck here.
Looks to be a tight game, actually. It
Absolutely,
appears
yeah.
that Penn State with the Yellow Rocks is shot. They do have hammer here. They're going to want to find a way to get a deuce.
Yes. Which is possible. I think a heavy draw will be able to do that by knocking the.
Not entirely sure
Well.
who's how many rocks remain. We're going to zoom out a minute just to try and figure out what the deal is there. Still is not entirely clear. Still is not entirely clear, but
It is Skips rocks.
oh, this may be
This
might be the last-
this might be the last rock.
well, no, because it is
They have hammer.
and
Yellow.
they have hammer.
Yes.
So this coming up here will be the last, shot.
rock of the.
So we'll jump back over to the other end of sheet 3 for you, so we can observe this as it's coming down.
All right.
And a nice draw here will
It's
do
coming.
well. That
Yes,
looks
yes.
that looks real nice.
It's more of a guard.
It does. It is a guard. I think I would have liked to see that go further for MIT. I think there's no danger in locking one on the button.
That might have been a weight control issue more than anything else.
Sure.
But still, that draw for yellow is still quite difficult. They're coming in from that direction.
Well, I don't see this coming
No,
for them.
I don't either.
That guard that was just thrown by the MIT skip is just too close.
Just gonna keep it, yeah.
Candidly, I think your shot there looks like they made.
Well, I'm not sure what that was. I think it might have been off broom.
Perhaps I think the only shot you really had here is some combination of on those yellows on the side.
That's,
But they made
but that's a tall order at any rate, even on a good day.
Sure. Let alone for just on the point. And so it looks to be a score of one yellow. We'll hold off on declaring that just because our angle is not.
Looks to be one yellow though. Now that they moved that red rock
Yes.
into the lane.
Yes.
So we'll pencil that in tentatively for now as we move to sheet 4, where we have again an exciting match between Toledo and Minnesota. Minnesota playing the Yellow Rocks here, and wow, it doesn't even look like there are any red rocks in the house. This is a difficult state of affairs for Toledo, of course, but not too late as they have rocks left. But certainly they have been. The way that this end has developed has foreclosed the possibility of a profitable score for Toledo at this point. Indeed, I believe this is their what? This I believe might be their Skip's last rock. Yes, well, they just need to get full 8 in order to get something, but at most 1.
And
It is coming.
coming down. Sweepers are on it.
Okay, yeah, the line looks good. It just needs to get full.
They're going to have to get it there.
They're gonna just gotta have to get it full 8, just a little bit more, and they'll get it, unless it.
And it will
Yes,
sneak by,
right.
and will it go far enough?
Oh boy, yes it will. Oh, hard to tell. It could have if it gone just a few more
It
inches.
appears like I did believe it was a steal of 1 from Minnesota.
All right. Well, this is the bottom of the third end.
Top of the 4th, Brian.
Yes, I believe all. Would I be correct in saying that all sheets are now finished with their third end?
We're just gonna jump back over to end. Yeah, so we're all on the 4th end. So to catch up, everyone, where we are. For those of us just joining, I'm Nelson Rogers, joined by my colleague Brian Lee from Princeton Curling. On sheet 1, in the matchup of RPI versus Nebraska, Nebraska leads 5-0. On sheet 2, in the matchup of Michigan Tech versus Yale, Michigan Tech leads 8-0. On the matchup on sheet 3 between MIT and Penn State, MIT leads 3-2 in the 4th, MIT with hammer. And on sheet 4, the matchup between Toledo and Minnesota, Minnesota leads 7-0. We're back on sheet 1 in the matchup of RPI and Nebraska. It appears here that as we we'll zoom back here and take a look at our center sheets for a bit.
We don't really have a lot of close games, with the exception of sheet 3.
Yeah, so we'll, why don't we let's keep a closer eye on sheet 3 as we go forward. Keep you tuned into the action, nail biting.
I mean, Penn State just runs a giant curling operation for what it's worth.
A machine.
And Morelli's in his shorts as usual. Okay.
I used to curl in my shorts, Brian,
Oh boy.
until one time I was at the Granite Curling Club in Seattle for a junior bonspiel, and I was teased because I was wearing shorts, and never again.
Well, it's sort of that classic no shirt, no shoes, no service mentality, isn't it?
And no jeans.
We're coming in because there's a party in here.
Oh, wonderful.
There's a whole bunch of
For those unfamiliar, there is a stipulation in the event procedures that prohibits jeans on players and on coaches. So if you were planning on wearing your blue jeans out today, keep them packed at home.
Well, earlier, it appears that Penn State was attempting to wick that yellow rock out of the way. It was just sitting full 8, but they missed earlier. Hogged guard from Penn State just now. Let's see him give that another shot.
Yeah, and just to bring us up to where we are, we have MIT leading Penn State 3-2, MIT with hammer. So MIT being up here 1 with hammer, they're going to want to get their deuce. That would be a really strong position to go into the halfway break. With hammer up a bundle. And in order to do that, they are...
That one.
In order to do that, MIT, who is playing the Red Rocks, they're gonna that will be a wonderful shot from MIT
Yes.
going around.
Well done.
I would have said, Ryan, you could even go a bit lighter, get a little more curl, try and roll a bit farther, really opened it up. It's a tricky situation for Penn State.
And Yale having put in a yellow rock into the house, sitting about halfway into the 4-foot. That was somewhat covered, but it appears as though that guard has since been removed, and indeed they must put that back. I think at this point in time, Michigan Tech has the luxury of playing with a degree of aggression that Yale unfortunately cannot.
Indeed. Well, actually, it's interesting. In curling, we've heard things the other way. So if you're going to play conservative is to play cleanly and play with hits. To play aggressively is to be drawing.
Yeah.
And it's intuitively somewhat different, but
Yeah. Well, MIT's now, it appears to be largely a hit game. It's just those stones at the top house that they've both become enamored with.
And you know what? For MIT, maybe that's okay. We can't.
That's fine.
We'll pan over here to see if there's nothing in play over there.
No.
MIT loves a blank here.
Yes.
Going into the 4th, up 1 with hammer. That's an ideal situation. I would say the only thing is if they do blank, they'll move their hammers from the even ends to the odd ends. And to the extent that you want to keep hammer in the even ends, not a chief consideration, but it is
nice to have.
worth thinking about.
Well, back on sheet 3, Yale has put back a nice guard for themselves here, but obviously Michigan Tech is preparing to get that out of the way. And I might add that there's appears to be a biter red rocks just over the 12-foot over on the right side, and indeed that gets rid of that. And
And that
wow,
was
lovely.
a beautiful run double
Lovely.
by Michigan Tech.
The house is clean.
You know, the one thing about it is it does leave the guard there, and so yeah, we'll have the opportunity to draw another one, but that's going to be a precise draw that is needed.
Now, what really might be interesting is if this hit game continues, whether or not that biter over there, that red rock biter, is going to create any difference. I don't think it would, but it'd be quite interesting to see a world in which that does eventually matter.
Indeed, Ryan.
And it's coming in. It looks to, well, this is starting to curl now, it would appear. It might actually crash into that red guard from what it looks like. It ekes past, but it's a smidge heavy. But that will do just fine. That will do just fine. It's hard to see from this angle how well protected the yellow rock is. Looks reasonable to me.
Actually, I think it is quite well lined up, Ryan.
Yeah.
And on sheet 3, we'll see a nice draw coming in. Just a little heavy.
Right. Just a little heavy, but still within the.
And that's going to be Penn State playing the Yellow Rocks in pursuit of a force or a steal. Now, an interesting call from MIT, opting to play the run back. I don't quite agree with the shot, Brian.
No, I don't
I
either.
think there's are easier, higher percentage shots available. They could freeze. They could even, I think, even a hack weight chase of the yellow, which I think is actually available.
Well, it
It's
is
preferable.
Well, that red rock there is, it might create some issues, but certainly, I mean, that I would rather that than this. But let's see if they can pull it off.
Looks like it'll be over curling, and they will
whack it off.
and they will remove their own guard. Not the end of the world
No.
for MIT.
Certainly creates options for them moving forward.
Yes,
for both
so
teams. I
Penn
imagine.
State really will have to replace the guard here.
Yes.
They're choosing to play it a little tight to the house, try and potentially get another counter.
Michigan Tech has just moved their red rock a little bit. I think it was way light on that one. I think they were trying to actually just dislodge the yellow just now, coming in, following it down. Well, let's take a look at the events on sheet 1, shall we?
Sure.
Yellow rocks, once again, is Nebraska RPI is red rocks, and the score at present is 5-0 Nebraska leading. We have currently 1 yellow rock in the house, sitting full 12. But not very much else appears to be going on.
And RPI is just struggling to come up with offense here. They're really going to need guards, and they need things behind guards, and just struggling to try to come up with that combination.
We haven't seen much from sheet 4 as of now, but it seems as though the houses are really quite clean at this end for everybody.
Certainly.
And the red rocks are coming in, but it might... I don't think that's going to do them very well.
Well, it's not in the house, and so I'm not sure if Nebraska will choose to peel it. Oh, they will.
Well, they will.
They will choose to peel it. That's definitely a good call from Nebraska. And at that, we'll pan over to sheet 4.
I must add, the Midwest teams are just absolutely having a field day here.
And
Wow.
it appears on sheet 4 that playing the Red Rocks is Minnesota with 1 in the house, double centers in front of it. A nice combination for Minnesota, who leads 7-0 in this contest.
And Toledo rocks are coming down. If it's going to hit
Oh,
it,
and this could be his problem. They're going to want to bump that just a hair. A really
real
strong rock.
nice, real nice. And it's still very much covered by those double centers.
A really strong rock from Toledo.
Well done.
They're going to want to capitalize on
Yeah,
that going
absolutely.
forward.
Minnesota seems to be asking for it again.
Here so. And we'll take you to the far end of sheet 3, so we can ascertain how many rocks are left in this end. Sheet 3 will remind you is the closest matchup we have here so far. It appears we're getting down to it. This is going to be
This
beginning of Skips Rocks.
Skips Rocks.
So with that information in mind, we'll come back to the home and watch how this matchup plays out. So just to catch up where we are going into Skip Stones. It's going to be MIT with Hammer playing the Red Rocks. MIT is up 1 with Hammer playing the Red Rocks. And it looks like they're going to go for the hit on the yellow in the back of the house.
Whoa. Is that really? Well, I'm not sure if that's terribly necessary. They mustn't hit it. The draw might be better.
You know, because that guard is so high, I'm okay with this. I think it's a good call. You know, if that guard was much closer, you might want to consider going behind because the chase would just be so much more challenging.
I mean, certainly they want to. If they are going to go and get the hit, I mean, they're getting enough of broom such that I think they're just going to be going for essentially hack weight at this point.
Exactly. That is quite a lot of.
I can't really see how if there's anything up in front that's occluding it. Do you remember?
Well, there's a guard up here.
That's right. Yes.
But that's so far up that it's.
Is that a 2 or 1?
That's a 1. It's very far up there.
Oh yeah! Wow.
So we have beginning of Skip Rocks coming down.
Yep. All right. It's coming in. It's starting to curl. I don't think it's going to keep that line. It's might over curl. Which is fine. Just fine. But I don't think that was either the plan A or for plan B or for them. Right over past the 12 foot.
Yeah, not entirely. I don't think they'll be satisfied with that result, especially because it now gives Penn State the opportunity to hit and lie 2, which is going to be a very advantageous position for them as they seek to force MIT just to take 1.
Sheet 2 is now on break, it would appear. It'll be back in about 10 minutes. Shall we check this the placard on there?
Let's wrap this up first.
Yeah. So let's see what's going on. Penn State's now throwing. Appears as though they want to. Okay.
And we have
looked a bit wide.
We have Yellow Rocks in motion coming down the sheet on sheet 3.
Looked it in inside out just now.
Looks to be.
But it's wide.
But it's very wide, and it will sail by.
It's not even going to touch that red. Well.
And Penn State will not be happy with that result.
Yes, especially if they manage to get this one out.
Yes, and because of that draw came up short last time, this now is a hit for, I believe, is this?
Well, it would be for 3 now. This is Red Rock's last rock.
And this
Skip's last rock, I believe.
Oh no, who's that rock for?
That's a yellow rock.
Sorry everyone, we may have made an error. It is actually Penn State with Hammer.
Yes.
Not MIT.
Declan Galo coming down with that beautiful slide of his.
It's actually Penn State with Hammer. This changes, well, not too much.
Well, no, I don't think so.
And a beautiful shot.
I'll get it. Well, I think this forces Penn State to draw at this point.
Indeed.
Unless they want to hit the red and make sure it doesn't roll too much. But that's a risky shot.
And this is Hammer on sheet 3 and N4 of the College Curling National Championships. The draw 1 matchup between MIT and Penn State. MIT leading 3-2. Penn State with Hammer.
Yes.
Contrary to what we can say.
Contrary to popular opinion. And they're beginning to work on the rocks. The weight appears to be decent, but
they'll want to get it there. Can't hurt it.
Can't hurt it. Come on.
They have great backing too.
Oh boy.
Oh, and will it over curl?
No.
And it will sit down in time.
Yes, there we go. That's 1 yellow for Penn State.
All right, and with that, we're going to pan over to sheet 4 just to see how things are going. It looks to be again a dominant performance by University of Minnesota.
And certainly that only just helped them more. I can't tell how many they're sitting, but they are sitting. Well, Yale has currently vacated the ice. Yale and Michigan Tech on sheet 2. Sheet 3 is now also on break, so that will resume in about 10 minutes. And let's see how many rocks are left here, because looking at this situation, I mean, if you were Toledo, I don't know what you'd want to do right now. So,
If you're Toledo,
like, well, there's a red rock sitting right there, so there might be a possible raise. You can do like
that's a very difficult situation. You need to get.
and I think that's the objective here was just to. Well, actually, that
Well,
rock
you
might
know what?
that might ram the red one in.
You know what's too bad is those guards out in front because
Yeah.
there is a triple available on the yellows. I think
That's
I mean, very challenging.
Oh, sure. I mean,
very challenging.
I don't know if that desperate measures would call for something like
But
that.
I mean, that would be, you know, all else before this shot, or even with the shot, I guess that would have been a triple for 5, and so, you know, I don't know if Toledo is, you know, trying to consider ways of, you know, making, you know, high risk moves here, but that would have been
Well, I mean, if they can get their hands on it, I mean, they deserve the 5.
exactly.
Nolan Mattis is getting into position now. Wow, got a load of that. It's in the hack now.
And it appears, what does it appear?
Oh, this is just going through his routine. It appears. Is that there's a
It appears one more rock for
yellow,
each.
There's a yellow rock.
So we'll have
Yeah.
one from Toledo, one from Minnesota, and the final rock in the 4th ends of this college curling national championship from Toledo.
The line looks to be acceptable. Certainly, it's going to clear those guards handedly. The question is, going to get the takeout.
It doesn't.
They're not going to have the velocity for that, unfortunately. Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't. That unfortunately doesn't really change things, but they have another opportunity to get it right.
See, Brian, do you see the triple I was looking at?
Yeah.
There, and that would have been for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if you know if you're able to,
Oh,
you're able to stick it.
that's a Hail Mary and change.
I mean, that's what they'll need at this point.
Well, let's see if Minnesota might make their life easier inadvertently. It looks like I think they just want to do an easy draw. All right, and Skip Tommy Lentz is coming out with his second of 2 Skips rocks.
Yes. And he's just going to want to junk that up more.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a really strong position, well guarded, sitting what appears to be at least probably sitting 2.
Yeah.
No clear shot for a bundle more.
Yep, and that will do. I think they were trying to preclude the possibility of a raise.
Absolutely, Brian. That'll play.
But unfortunately, I think this takes out the possibility of getting that triple you were talking about earlier because of that rock.
Yeah, I mean that was out the door a while ago. But we have
I think they're
the
might angle it
Skip
in,
lining up the only shot that I can see,
which is an angle.
which is an angle run on that.
Oh boy, that's a
challenging shot.
That's a gamble. But again, like I said, if they can make it, they deserve the point.
Absolutely.
Well, let's see how this turns. It's in the hack. I will say Toledo has traditionally had a very strong forte in their hits. Nolan Mattis in particular coming down the ice now.
Sweepers are on it.
The line
looks light.
Yeah.
Looks light, Brian.
Yeah, the line looked fine coming in, but I think it's just going to crash into that.
Not quite.
Yeah, it's going to crash well
That'll be a steal of 2.
for Minnesota.
Taking a 9.
They will now also vacate the field of play for a temporary 10-minute break, and I believe that has also been the case on sheet 1.
Well, we have sheet 2 who's actually getting there back in the 5th.
Yes.
We're going to take a short pause here in the commentators, and we hope you'll rejoin us soon.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us for these first 4 ends. We'll be back with you in a couple minutes at the USA College Curling National Championship in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Before we go, we'd like to just shout out to a couple more of our sponsors who make this event and all those like it possible.
Absolutely. Let's give a big hand to Forever Exteriors Real Estate Solutions. We make it easy for you. Thrivent Financial, Toboggan Run Dental, the dental practice of Dr. Charles Christler and Dr. Rachel Engel. Cadillac Construction, LaPointe Tire and Automotive, and Rice Lake Weighing Systems. Thank you to their generosity.
And we'll be back shortly. Welcome back, everyone, to the fourth end of the Draw 1 of the College Curling USA the USA College Curling National Championships. I am Nelson Lee. I'm joined here with, I'm Nelson Rogers. I'm joined here by Brian Lee. And together we'll be providing commentary for these games on this fine afternoon. We're coming back from our halfway break, the fourth end break. And we're going to take a quick tour of the sheet because Brian and I need to catch up on what's going on just as much as you do. And so we're going to start by heading on down to the far end of sheet 1 to take a peek at the matchup between
RPI and Nebraska.
and so it appears that fifth end. They're all in the fifth end. It appears that in the fourth end, that
It's 1 to 8.
it was Nebraska with a hefty steal of 3. The score is going to be Nebraska leads 8-1. RIP with hammer in the fifth. Now as we head over to sheet number 2, where we have the matchup between Yale and Michigan, and what you see there is correct. Michigan does lead 10-0 in the fifth end, with steals, stealing the lights out,
boy.
stealing the Mona Lisa here. And
larceny.
Exactly, Brian. Hire them for your next art heist, everyone. Now that does mean that Yale will have hammer playing the Yellowstones in the fifth end. Now when we go to sheet 3, this one we apologize everyone. We had a tech error. We'll chalk it up to that prevented us from sharing accurate information about this game. But we're back on track. We have in the matchup between Penn State and MIT. MIT leads 4-3. Most recent score was a score of 1 by Penn State in the fourth end. That was a force by MIT. And it will be MIT leading by 2 with the hammer in the fifth. A strong position as they head into the second half. And we're going to zoom in here because
It's obstructed.
yes,
by
and so
9.
and so zooming in here will reveal that it is in fact 9-0. 9-0 with Minnesota leading, and that was a steal of 2 in the fourth that got us here.
Another impressive team that's just really been having at it with their opponent.
Absolutely, Brian. So just to give us a quick recap of where we are, do you want to run through them, Brian?
Yes, let's take a quick look. On sheet 1 we have RPI versus Nebraska. RPI are Red Rocks, Nebraska yellow. The score is 8-1 in favor of Nebraska. RPI has hammer in the fifth end. On sheet 2 we have currently 10-0 Michigan Tech leading over Yale. Yale has hammer going into the fifth end. Sheet 3, the score is 4-2 MIT over Penn State. MIT with red handles, PSU with yellow. And MIT has hammer this end. And finally, in sheet 4, we have Toledo red handles and hammer, and Minnesota yellow handles. Toledo retains hammer. The score is currently 9-0 in favor of Minnesota.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, it still looks to be rather early in the fifth end, but we will be keeping you apprised on the progress on all 4 sheets. Certainly some teams are feeling the heat more than others. It's not, unfortunately, a very enviable state of affairs for teams on sheet 1, 2, and 4, but still there is a possibility that they will claw back. I certainly remember a time I blew a 7-point lead over the course of 2 ends. We don't talk about that too often, though.
But you know what, Brian? We should talk about that more. I think that one of the beauties of the game is this wonderful balance between the ability to come back and the ability to, handle it. That's a skill. Managing a lead is a skill. There's a
strategy, and it was a time where I was not as attuned to that side of the sport as I ought to be, certainly as I am now. That was actually against, I believe, RIT, who will be playing at 4:30. So stick around for that. We'll have a fresh crew of commentators here to give you the details. But that is also the reason why I don't skip anymore.
It's a good one, Brian. But it's interesting. Like the set of shots that you have to throw when you're maintaining leads. Most close at the moment. We'll head on down to the far end of sheet 3.
right, let's see. Wow.
Lots going on here. Looks like advantage MIT. They have a number of stones in the 8-foot. There looks to be at least sitting 2. Third shot may belong to MIT or to Penn State.
They certainly have 2 within the 4-foot, it would look like.
Right, and so MIT is currently up 2 with hammer. A deuce
And
here.
Penn State, let's see if they're going
Oh, a really nice hit and roll.
Well, but that I don't think that changed.
I don't know, Brian. They may be shot. I mean, it's close in there.
Hard to
It
see.
gets them
It's
in the
hard to
game.
see. It's all overlapping, isn't it?
Nonetheless, hit and roll,
Yes.
the hardest shot in curling.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's see how MIT is going to respond to that. Polly Harrington discussing with Declan Galo.
And it looks like, let's take a look at the strategy here for both teams. We're going to have MIT up 2 with hammer. They want their deuce. And a deuce here by MIT, a 6-2 lead without hammer. That's a strong position to be in as you head into the 6th, 7th, and 8th ends.
Absolutely.
And then in terms of Penn State, they're really going to want, a steal here for Penn State is probably ideal. They'll be okay with the force,
I
too.
think so too.
They're not going to want to get greedy.
They just need points, frankly. I mean, there's still 3 ends to catch up, but certainly I think as far as morale is concerned, MIT could certainly do very nicely with the deuce. But let's see if that's going to happen with this current rock that's coming down the sheet. It was certainly working on it furiously, but
Looks light to me.
the line is well, it's hard to tell, but it's not going to. I think if it was going to displace rocks, I don't think it was going to do everything it needed to. Yeah, I don't think that does very much, but guard up this current situation, which we're actually not sure who's shot right now. So either Penn State could have benefited from that.
True.
He's gesturing towards his
Sailing
head.
point, Brian.
Gesturing towards his head could be the
Appeal.
of the
And-
frontmost rock.
Oh, Penn State looks to be playing a guard. That would signal to me that they are shot. I don't think you'd be playing.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
And you know what? At this point, that might be. I don't hate the call.
It's very crowded. I mean, certainly occluding it further is just going to make the shots more difficult from them forward. I don't think they're going to get a deuce if this is what they're doing, but 1 point is better. They haven't. Right,
but it is slightly playing with fire here. I mean, that rock on the button, it is well guarded. But if MIT throws a bullet, we know they can throw the bullets.
Certainly.
Then that could be a tricky position for.
Regardless of the situation there, I don't think that did very much.
No, that did very little for Penn State, and it will leave MIT with some sort of run back. Now the trick here,
It's hard to tell from
is,
this angle.
and I don't
Projecting to do. Oh no, that's a very steep angle to go in at.
right. It is, and the other thing is I don't know if you can get that yellow out because it will definitely jam on one of the back reds there. But you know what? Maybe you have to, maybe you have to make that because if you want to get that yellow out, you want to score. You're going to have to move some of those rocks behind it.
Well, clearly, I think they're comfortable. Maybe they're not comfortable with it, but they're willing to take that bet because I don't think it's going to jam at least before it hits the yellow. From this, I don't think
And a
there's any
timeout being called by MIT. Coach Evan Mullaney will join them on the ice. Difficult situation, but critical as they try to figure out how to move forward. We'll take a look at what else is going on the ice as the teams discuss. And it will be on sheet 2. I believe that is handshakes after 5. That is going to be a dominant Michigan Tech performance over Yale. No, wait. Hold on. Is it? They probably had to finish the end and score it. We're gonna head down to the far end to see what happened. And they did. They wrapped.
Oh wow! Yeah, wow! They went off the scoreboard and came back around, huh?
Yes,
That's,
that will be a 14-0 final.
Wow.
Michigan Tech over Yale.
That will be the final score for now. So we are now working with 3 sheets now. Let's give a round of applause to that very thrilling game between Michigan Tech and Yale. Michigan Tech handshakes after 5 ends for a score of 14-0, a wrap. Wrap in terms of the finish and a wraparound score. Very impressive.
We'll bring over our view to sheet 1 here at the home end.
As a reminder, RPI versus Nebraska. RPI with red handles, Nebraska with yellow.
and there is nothing happening there. Is the game over? It appears yes. It appears yes that game has also concluded, and that will be a
Final score.
Nebraska victory. The final score is coming to you now.
We hear applause coming from the warm room.
Yes, we do. So we're gonna look at the far end of sheet 1.
That is a 10-1.
It's a 10-1 victory for Nebraska. Congratulations to Nebraska on a strong performance.
Well, we'll direct the remainder of our attention now to sheets 3 and 4, where we still have games in progress between MIT Penn State on sheet 3 and Toledo versus Minnesota on sheet 4. Oh, forgive me. I don't. Are they finished on sheet 1? It looks
Yes,
as though they were.
they're throwing LSDs,
Oh, I see.
I think. I'm like really sure. No!
No, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Pardon us, everyone.
There's more.
There's more. Excuse our blunder. We'll spend a minute reviewing the situation. So it is currently 10-1 Nebraska RPI, and it will be RPI playing the Red Rocks with Hammer in the 6th end.
Yes. Well, let's turn our attention now to sheets 3 and 4.
And we'll take a look at the score on sheet 4 at the far end. And that is going to be a point for Toledo in the 5th end.
Wow, good for them. Moving now into the 6th end, it is Minnesota that has happened.
Minnesota 9, Toledo 1, Minnesota with Hammer in the 6th on sheet 4, draw 1 of the USA College Curling National Championship. Brian, who's talking in the warm room?
I'm not sure. Oh, please consider ordering some merchandise from the Rice Lake Curling Club. They're selling some very nicely made Nationals merchandise. Very elegant and very comfortable, I might add. Fine workmanship. And speaking of supporting local businesses, we certainly would appreciate your the wonderful resources that have been invested in this event by the many sponsors. We've been introducing them throughout this broadcast, and we will continue to do so. First and foremost, we have State Farm, the agency of Ashley R. Headley, Dairy State Bank, CCF Bank, making more possible, Edward Jones Investments, Forever Exteriors, real estate solutions. We make it easier for you. And of course, we have a number of other sponsors that we've been introducing you to, and we look forward to shouting them out as well as the afternoon continues. Sheet 3 right now looks to have a fairly open house with currently an N6. Let's check what the score was at the end of the 5th.
On the far end of sheet 3, let's take a look.
And that would appear to be
A steal of 1
All right.
by Penn State, and that's going to probably have been that yellow rock that we were looking at earlier.
Yes.
Challenging to remove with those catchers behind it.
Absolutely.
Really well placed. That's what a powerful rock can do for you. We have currently throwing is,
I believe Rob Chappelle looks like.
yes,
He's coming out now. Let's see where they want that to land and where it actually will.
oh, that looks like you may have picked a little.
Just a touch. Just a touch, potentially. It doesn't look like it would. It is dying out. Oh, I don't know if that's a hog or not. Oh, I'd take that back.
All right, double centers. That's going to be double centers will actually be working for Penn State
think so,
in
too.
this case. Let's keep in mind they're in the 6th end.
Yeah.
We have 2 more ends. This is when Brian, being strategic, I should say.
Yes.
Being strategic about your end plans is really, really important. Especially, as we think, between strategy and tactics, making sure that you know the kind of the tactical execution in order to make sure that your end goals are realized. You don't want to end up in a situation where
Absolutely.
you're in the last end and poor planning has resulted in an unideal situation. It's gonna be a little tick by MIT on the center guard placed by Penn State.
Nothing too much going on right now. I don't even think that yellow is biting. Doesn't look like it to me.
No, I don't think so.
And I don't think at the end of the day it's going to matter too much anyway. Same could be said for sheet 4. Still a very empty house. I think it's still fairly early in the end. Well, perhaps we should take a look at sheet 1 and see what's happening between RPI, apologize, and Nebraska.
Sure, let's do that, Brian. To be pan over.
Okay, well, there's something going on there.
Again, RPI though, just really struggling to come up with the coverage they need. Not the aggressive play that they're looking for
No.
when they're in this position.
And Nebraska, knowing their current performance, is just going to take that right out.
Yeah, and there's nothing else they should do.
Certainly, I don't think I've seen them make a miss on camera today.
No, they're playing very
Whoa.
well. Sticks around the nose, great separation
Yeah.
between those rocks. Strong position for a force.
Yeah.
Who has hammer? It's RPI.
RPI with
hammer.
hammer, yes.
Right.
I'm not sure if this is.
No, I think the call you have to draw behind
No,
something.
this is not.
You have to freeze, draw behind something. You need to create some offense.
Yeah, they gotta do something other than hitting it because they're not gonna. This is not gonna be profitable for them. They're gonna at most get 1 or 2, and then hammer reverts.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure if they have the. Not sure if this is. I will say they usually will go for the hit game in situations like this.
Maybe they can get a little roll.
Well, it's not. It's just, this is a
no,
written.
that'll
This is
still buy.
yeah.
It's too bad.
Very unfortunate.
Giving Nebraska the chance to draw right in front, really put the pressure on. I mean, at this point, you're hoping for a draw off the button.
This is unfortunately really not a desirable state of affairs at all for RPI. I mean, you're gonna get 4 in there. You're gonna
Let's
get
turn our attention back to the sheet 3
Yeah.
game, where
Well, things have picked up in front of the house, but the house
again a
itself.
lot of junk, and Penn State has another one sunken in
Yeah.
there, and they're gonna want to do all they can to keep that being down 1 at this point. If they can steal, if I were them right now in the 6th, I would say steal, force,
Yeah.
deuce
Yeah.
is probably your path to victory.
Yeah.
Steal being steal 1 point here.
Yeah.
That will level the score up, and MIT will hammer, force MIT to 1. Then you go into the last
And
end,
get the
down 1 with hammer, which is an okay position. We're okay with
Absolutely.
that.
Whoa!
But a beautiful hit,
whoa.
beautiful hit by MIT.
It looks like the house is empty now.
A run back double to remove both the guard and the shot rock, and rolls out also. Now the trouble here is that if Penn State is able to draw another one around, there's tons of junk up there.
Well, that's the thing, right? But that if they're going to draw, it's going to be off center. They're going to get it into the 4, potentially into the 8, in order to have full benefit from that coverage there.
Right, so the trouble is, even as wonderful a shot as that was,
I don't think.
there's-
Yeah.
Penn State is still in a pretty strong position here.
Yeah.
Especially if they can get a good one here.
Absolutely. Is Penn State also doing the? Do they also do the Midwestern handles?
I believe they do.
It's got to be. It would be very odd if they were giving a.
Happy Valley, Pennsylvania, everyone. It's basically in Nebraska. I'm gonna get slapped for that. With specific respect to the way that they do their curling handles. Asterisk.
They can't hear.
Footnote.
Okay. Well,
They're gonna want to go.
they want to go.
Okay.
I mean, that's not. I mean, it's in the house, but at what cost?
Right. Not a realized opportunity.
No, because they could get rid of that and probably just roll over.
Exactly. I mean, the trouble then is that Penn State does still have another draw. What would have been?
You say steel force deuce. I think we might be looking at best a force here.
Yeah, it's looking to be that way. I mean, unless Penn State is able to sink one around here, and that will
that
one knows.
Well, okay. I don't think the situation. I think the situation is just sort of reversed from the last rock. I think that's still they can get behind a pretty
Tricky situation. I think they need to draw here.
Yeah,
A wide draw.
I don't see any of the options.
Even if you're in the back backer side of the 4-foot or side of the 8-foot, that's all right.
full 12 will do you just fine, but I don't think she's giving enough ice.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll run a little straighter out here on the wings.
Hard to say. That's well, she's gesturing towards a draw towards the center, but that's not. I'm not sure if that brim is going to be able to deliver that out.
True. Sailing and observation, Brian.
Then again, they know the ice much better than we do.
And we would like to extend a warm thank you for our 67 current viewers. And we encourage you to engage with us. Engage with us in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. We are Nelson Rogers and Brian Lee from Princeton Curling. And we would love your feedback. If there's any game that you particularly want to see, we're totally amenable to this is a broadcast for our viewers, and we want to make sure that everyone knows that as such.
And certainly I imagine that there are a lot of curling connoisseurs in the chat as well. I'm sure there's a lot of excellent commentary and observations going on there. So really sort of the wisdom of the crowd here at play.
Absolutely, Brian.
That's what America's all about.
And curling too, it's the spirit of curling that we all love.
Well, I don't think well, that's interesting, isn't it? That I believe that yellow rock that just appeared on the basically halfway into the 8 was that shot that was just called.
Sure, and we do have Penn State playing the yellow rocks. It looks to be their shot now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I did miss what did happen, but
I don't think it touched the red rock. I think it just sat there. I don't think it curled very much at all. So
Sure.
maybe that was correct intuition that it wasn't going to curl as much towards the wings.
Sure. So let's take a look and see if we can't figure out how many more rocks we have left.
All right, let's see what we got here. It's
So we're on Skips Rocks now.
Skips Rocks now, and because MIT has hammer, they have two
Last.
after this one here.
Penn State's first of Skip Rocks. Now, again, a strong position. I'm going to be honest. I don't quite agree with this call. I think you draw.
I don't know what they're trying to accomplish.
I think you draw on the outturn side here and try and.
Are they trying to go through the port?
How sheet 4 looking? We can definitely
Well, wait,
over sheet 4 for a
we'll tell
second.
you all about sheet 4 right now.
Sheet 4. This is the story of the night. Minnesota dominant performance. They're sitting back of the 4 and back of the house. They look to be sitting 2, and it does appear to be Toledo's shot at the moment.
Now, I think what they're going to go for is just to sit on top of the yellow, which is a feasible shot to make, in my opinion.
Absolutely, and a strong one too.
But again, it's just there's scantily a way to be profitable. Now on sheet 3, we just observed a yellow rock come in that stopped well short of the house. It's just going to join a lot of that noise sitting forward of the house. I don't think it's going to make a difference in the long run. Indeed, MIT is going to try to get rid of that red rock and potentially go for the deuce here.
Exactly, a missed opportunity by Penn State to get another one in there. I don't think they were quite playing the right call there. I think there was an easier shot that would have been the draw.
Now they're going to probably, if they can get it real nice, they can roll it and get under that wonderful cover that they have over on the left.
Exactly. We'll take a look over to sheet 1 now, playing in the 7th.
We'll check on the score real quickly for you.
We'll jump down there on the far end of sheet 1.
And that's 10-2. So that's a point for RPI. Hammers transfers over to Nebraska. In the penultimate end, So in order to tie, RPI has the tall order of getting 8 points in the course of the next two ends. We'll see how they manage with that challenge. In the meantime, we'll turn our attention again over to sheets 3 and 4, where there are some interesting emerging situations.
We have the last rock of Penn State being thrown as we speak.
And we'll catch up on that last shot to see what happened with MIT's attempted takeout. We'll see if that was a takeout or an attempted one at that. Oh, and it did nose it. It stuck around.
It's the ground, and this is going to be way wide from Penn
Oh
State.
boy, and it's just going to move right on past. Didn't even nick it.
And so now MIT with Hammer has a draw for 3, and that's going to be tough to come back from in two ends. Not
Not
not impossible, but at this level of play, given what we've been seeing, it's going to be a tall order for Penn State.
Well, I bet Penn State and MIT, both teams are very fatigued, and right now actually morale plays a lot bigger role than it normally would.
Absolutely, Brian. I mean, Brian, would you have gone for the hit or maybe some draw?
Oh, if I was Penn State just now,
Sure.
oh, I would have drawn from the left side. What he's doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think that may have been.
That might have done it. But MIT is. We'll see how they deliver with this one. Look, they don't need to go for button draw. They just need to touch paint,
Exactly.
and they probably will.
Looks maybe a hair heavy.
Heavier, but I think it'll
Looks
stick
pretty
around.
good.
Yeah, it looks good to me too.
Wow.
It's coming across the face.
There, yeah. That'll sit down.
Yeah, it'll do. Boy,
And that'll be 3 for MIT in the 6th end of the USA College Curling National Championship. Draw 1, the matchup between MIT and Penn State.
so at the bottom of the 7th end, we have on sheet 3, 7-3 MIT leading Penn State. That is currently going now into the 7th end, sorry. Hammer's transferred over to Penn State. They need to catch 4 points up just to tie over the course of the next two ends. Let's do a quick check over at the sheet 4 now. That's between Toledo and Minnesota. Last we were there, Minnesota 9 points leading Toledo, who only has 1, with Hammer belonging to Minnesota just now.
And we're going to introduce everyone to Princeton coach Sophie Legler.
So
Come on
hi,
down, say hi to our viewership.
Hi, everyone.
Sophie was the winner of the USA College National Curling Championship in 2023
Last year.
with the team out of the University of Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia Curling Club. You want to tell us a little bit about that experience?
Oh, it was a great experience. We were out in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great experience, actually. So now I'm coaching Princeton, but we played Princeton in the final last year, so
That was a good time.
it's come full circle.
Absolutely. Some might call it being a turncoat, but
Some might. I would not.
we're very certainly very lucky to have Sophie's.
Absolutely, her
coaching.
wisdom and
I think we're now on. No, that's N7 on sheet 4 just now.
yes,
I believe. I'm curious to see what happened with the score just now
on the sheet.
on the 6th end. A wrap. Was that a wraparound?
Yes, it is, and it appears that the score is now 12-1.
Yes.
Minnesota leading Toledo.
And I believe Hammer currently belongs to Toledo now.
Yes, Brian,
Oh
exactly.
boy, that's a 5-ender.
And we'll zoom over real quick to sheet 1 just to see how that's going.
Do you guys want pecan pie?
Well, I'd love some pecan.
Yes, please.
Awesome.
I'm sure our viewers do too.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's only 2 slices left, guys. So.
Oh, that's too bad.
Pecan pie, everyone. You heard it here first.
You know, they call it pecans down south. And as I understand it, there's a curling facility down in Atlanta now.
Peachtree.
Yes.
Peachtree Curling Club, isn't it?
I mean, that'd be another one. I think there's one in, or not Atlanta, Florida.
Oh.
I'm forgetting. But I might be wrong.
Would that not be orange themed?
Maybe it's called citrus, actually. Citrus something. I wouldn't be surprised if it's. Well, at any rate,
Interesting.
while Nelson figures out whether or not I'm bloviating, we see right now at the end of the 6th end, the score is still 10-2. Now 7th end. Looks as though there's a couple of sort of game of ring around the rosy over there, isn't it?
Yes, nothing quite solidly in the house. Maybe a couple biters
And
by Nebraska.
I don't think RPI is gonna. That ain't it. Oh, thank
And
you
we'll
very
return
much.
our focus. Oh,
You are our savior.
oh
Of
my gosh.
course,
So
gotta
excited for
fuel up,
this.
guys.
We'll be playing at 4:30, so you'll be hearing from a different set of commentators. Also, with I'm sure a lot to say. We have an exciting set of preliminary draws between Pool C and D at that hour.
And we'll bring those to you in just a minute. What the matchups will be for this afternoon's draw.
For all of you at home watching this instead of the Briar, we certainly appreciate your patronage.
Absolutely. Brian. If anyone has any Briar predictions and they want them to be shout out on the live stream, we would love to hear your guesses. Brian, do you have anyone who you're thinking is in a favorable position?
Oh, well, you know I'm a scrappy little Manitoba boy.
How are you?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, that's the way it is. How about you?
You know, not too many. I was I'm a really big fan of Kristen McCarville and Laurie St. George over on the women's side. And so it was a bummer not to see them advance as far as they would have liked. Really waiting for that Northern Ontario McCarville win one of these days. It's bound to happen eventually.
Well, like you were saying, I think we were talking that Kevin Cooley's made an appearance at this year's Briar, right? He's not been doing not
Absolutely.
been performing as well as he normally does, but certainly I think it's very nice to see some of the younger players get involved, and it seems so.
Absolutely.
Change in
Absolutely.
sponsorship, it's still a little bit surreal that it's being done by Montana's now instead of Tim Hortons.
Absolutely. Now, just to give everyone an idea of what we have coming up in store. This afternoon at the 4:30 p.m. draw, on sheet 1, we have the University of Wisconsin-Madison taking on Bowdoin. On sheet 2, we have Arizona State taking on Syracuse. On sheet 3, we have the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point taking on Harvard. And we have on sheet 4, yours truly, the Princeton University curling team taking on Rochester Institute of Technology in a battle of the Tigers.
RIT. You know, it's just RIT now, no periods between the letters. They changed that recently. It was a big deal.
Interesting. Brian, this pecan pie is delicious.
Oh, absolutely.
We would recommend the pie to anyone of our viewership who is
We'll have to
it's like-
figure out who made these.
absolutely, it's actually just
Oh,
divine.
my
Now, back to the game. On sheet 3, we have we have Declan from MIT calling appeal.
Yellow's currently shot sitting behind, but they got to get rid of those guards.
Exactly.
Get anywhere near it.
Such an advantageous position for MIT right now, leading 7-3.
You bet.
And this is absolutely the right call, keeping it open, lashing their own.
You know,
Very little risk.
I think sometimes a lot of
And,
people. Oh, okay. Oh,
made
yeah.
beautifully.
That will do it. Oh, and
Made beautifully.
maybe almost a little too forcefully. But yeah, that Yellow's a sitting duck now. Unless they were to put it back.
Absolutely. Penn State will have to draw here.
They better get it right.
Absolutely. Pressure is on for Penn State.
Well, let's see what's going on here.
Candidly, not much has changed on this sheet.
I can't even tell who shot. I might be red actually. Might be a red Rocks, which is RPI, but so one shot Rock's not going to do them too much good at this stage.
No.
That being said, I wouldn't put it past anybody to do an 800. I've never seen one myself, but I'm holding out hope that I will in this lifetime.
You know, I myself have not scored an 800, but the closest I've come, I was playing with the Arizona State University skip, Andy McDonald, and we were sitting 7, and we were real close. We were real close, Brian.
I've done a 600, but never a 7,
No.
or for that matter, I mean that's a photo op worthy opportunity, and my goodness, is Nebraska that excellent sweep form there.
Indeed.
Boy, I wouldn't want to play them.
We return to sheet 3, where the gap between MIT and Penn State is growing.
Okay, yeah, that didn't.
Not entirely undesirable, but not going to be exactly what they're looking for.
I think it must have overcurled, unless they did it inside out. I forget what the Brumquagus now was, but certainly, yeah, they want to peel that, don't they?
Absolutely right call.
Declan is giving pretty conservative ice.
And they're probably going for the double here.
Yeah, I bet.
They're going to have to play a little tight to the guard if they want the double, but even removing the guard is not
Yeah,
a bad
it's
call
not
at
an
all.
option. Is it just me, or that's a little bit narrow?
Oh.
Oh, okay, good.
And it'll be one. And it goes over the top.
One. But still, I think.
That's an example, Brian, of where our angle sort of fails.
Yes, it really does. depth perception. I mean, I'm not used to sort of. I mean, it's really hard to see from this angle. I'm from the War Room too. I don't think they have the. Oh no, you can.
I don't know.
It's all yours. Well, you know, Nelson, for somebody who spoke so highly of the pie, you're not going to finish it.
It's very rich. Very, very rich.
It is quite decadent.
We have
Okay,
Danielle
well-
from Penn State.
Wanting to draw through the port, which is, I think, probably her only option at this point, but she got to make sure it's lined up nicely behind that protection. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, again, we're just going to be back to square one.
And it is worth noting that they do have a hammer. Penn State does have hammer. And
That's
a
true.
score, really, they'll need a score of at least 2 to stay in the game, 3 to put the pressure on.
Absolutely, if you ask me. All right, well, that's it's coming in.
They're coming in. They really want to get it far. They got to push
They
it.
got to push it another at least.
Eye is okay.
Come on.
Eye is okay.
Just gotta. Okay, well.
now appears to be biting.
I don't even. Is that fully? Is that full?
No,
12?
I don't think it's full in the 12 foot, but I think that's going to be okay for Penn State.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
what it means is that MIT is not going to go for any sort of maybe they go for a hit, but
well, I'm not sure if they're going to be able. I mean, if I were them, I would try to go in and just go in through the port. I think the port is there. Again, hard to tell from this angle, but at least you have like I think 2 or 3 feet of
right.
maneuvering. If it over curls, it might just tap the yellow a little bit, and that will give them a little bit of an edge moving into the full 8. But still, that's not the shot rock. Is the bottom line.
Exactly.
The closest rock is still the closer on the wing there, the full 12 yellow.
And we'll jump over to sheet 4 just real briefly once this shot is concluded to take a look at what's going on over there.
All right. It's sweeping for
Looks like they're going
sweeping for line rather than weight. It looks
I
like.
suppose.
Yeah.
Penn State is slightly in the way of our broadcast, but no slight.
Rob Chappelle saw something. He appears to be a little not as concerned as not a little bit pleased with what happened. I don't think that's going to hurt them. But not terribly sure. Well, let's see. The Penn State skip is currently gesturing. I think she's currently perseverating about what she would want. Looks like she wants an inside out from that gesture she did just now. I'm not terribly sure what she. I don't.
I think Penn State should draw another one in here.
Yeah. But with that handle?
They have a special handle.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A quick reminder to everyone watching who is not from Happy Valley, Schenectady, or
Basically
the Midwest or Wisconsin that there are some curling clubs in the U.S. that elect to reverse the handle for some reason that is unknown to me.
I'm not. I don't think I really.
And
I don't think I fully understand.
if they can get that in, that would be huge. Not entirely clear if that rock is in. And they've
I don't.
but more importantly, they have opened up their own shot rock.
Yeah. I don't think that was a very sensible thing to do. I think honestly, I would have come in from the other side with a draw, even if it's
Sure.
I mean, there's coverage. It doesn't have to be full 4, but you can definitely.
I mean, they did the one thing you don't want to do, which
No.
is to uncover your shot rock.
No, absolutely not. But afraid that may be the. I mean, look, hoping that your opponent misses, it's not a valid strategy.
No, never, Brian, never. And we'll take a quick look to sheet 4.
Yeah, it looks like something's
going on.
happening. Handshakes appears though. Yeah, is that what that was? Hard to tell.
Yes, and the Rocks will be going back home.
But not.
And in the 7th end, it was 1 point for Toledo, finishing on a high note. The final score of 12-2, Minnesota over Toledo.
Nets game on 2 of our 4 sheets at the bottom of the 7th end.
And in a stunning move from MIT, they did get it out. Well, did they? Yes, they did. Okay. It was almost
They did?
disaster for MIT. Who
What happened? Just now?
they very nearly missed hitting the yellow shot rock,
Oh boy.
which would honestly have opened up the opportunity for a 4.
From this angle, it still looks like yellow shot though. I could be. I'm not going to. I don't think the viewers at home should trust what we're seeing because I don't think.
And briefly, we would have a measure going on
Oh.
sheet 1. We'll bring the results of that to you. We don't really know what else is going on over there. And so here we are on sheet 3 in the 7th end in the matchup between MIT and Penn State. Penn State with opportunities
Let's say with opportunities. Not immediately sure how many rocks are available to them at this point.
No, they will need to score a multiple here to stay competitive in the 8th end.
And the problem here is, folks, I don't even know if they're going to. In the current state of affairs, they have one. I don't know if they're shot. I mean, they're more likely than the red, but I don't know how far, how many they would be at this right now. Okay.
Group shots.
Gesturing wildly,
I took so many, I just grabbed.
sweeping, coming in. Weight looks decent, but it actually. Oh boy! Oh no! It's gonna.
Oh, and
it's
here.
gonna-
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh
Disaster.
boy! Oh boy! Well,
Disaster for Penn State.
that is not. That is unfortunate.
So they'll show up.
So on sheet 1,
Then I can go ahead and order some for folks.
we are still
To
measuring.
get all the team shots.
The only one we're looking.
It is unclear what is happening.
I have no idea what was going on over there. And we hear applause.
We hear
from the wall.
applause. That is probably
It's
sheet
sheet
4
4.
wrapping up. Yeah.
Of course, coming in. Isn't that good?
So I'll grab some other ones.
Oh, that's precious.
Oh, there's the fun one.
That's my favorite. I love it.
Let's get a look.
Sure.
Oh.
So it's pretty.
And they are bringing what appears to be another measuring device down from the other end. Not entirely sure what's happening here.
I mean, wouldn't it be better to bring in the laser for this thing? If this is where they're going to go. Well, they know.
Sometimes old-fashioned is just better. We'll get back to you with that result soon.
No, they know more than we do.
We have Skips Rocks.
Okay. Well, it looks like MIT's trying to sink another in there for a draw. Certainly, that's a possibility that's available to them. And out Declan goes.
And it appears that
I don't see any more red rocks.
there are no more red rocks. This will be Penn State's hammer coming up.
Whoa there. What happened there?
Not so. It looks
Did
like
it?
that was a light,
Yeah.
and
Oh, where did? Oh, I think it crashed into that cluster.
in fact, there may be a double available 4-4 for Penn State.
Oh,
I think at this point you have to go
you
for
have
it.
to. I mean, I don't. Or it's still hard to see what the situation is with how many that are shot, but the front end is walking over, and that's
Exactly it. But the thing is, you need to score multiple here. If you're in their position down 4 in the last, you don't want to be down.
No.
You don't want to be in the position of having to steal.
Well, do you
3.
think they have more? Do they have any shot rocks right now? It's hard to tell.
Who?
Penn State yellow handles. I can't really see. Oh, they're.
Not entirely.
Not entirely sure what's going on over
happening
there.
Here.
I think they're just as confused as we.
The thin double, and where you just have to think very critically about you can capitalize.
By the fact that they're taking the luxury with this, I think they have the time to do it.
I don't believe they called their timeout yet either, so they may want to take advantage of that. You know, it's kind of funny that this is the only college curling event where
They use the thinking time system.
thinking time is used and timeouts are sort of enforced to an extent.
Oh yeah.
And so teams are not necessarily, unless you have other competitive experience, familiar with kind of being able to use that timeout in a beneficial way.
Well, you know, when I played for it was my first last year when I came here. It was the first time I ever played under the thinking time system, and as somebody with a bit of a slower hack rhythm, I think it really certainly that sort of rustled some of the more experienced members on my team.
Yeah, it can definitely be a bit jarring.
Well, I think there was a draw. We ended with 15 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, so shout out to Daniel Dutt, ex-Princeton curling skip, who skipped Princeton to a silver medal in 2023 against Sophie Legler, who's behind me now.
Hey guys.
Is this online or offline?
No, this is online. I just
Okay.
figured I'd pop in.
Please. What are your thoughts on the game right now? We have
We can't see anything.
Penn State.
Can't see much.
Penn State is down a bundle, down a lot, and they need to.
They got 2 ends to go to make
They got
up.
one. They got one to go. This isn't the 7th. This is the 7th. Oh yeah.
Seventh is near to far. And 8 would be
Yeah,
coming
but-
back.
They've got 2 ends to go.
Yeah.
Well, like 1 and whatever rocks are left here.
And this is Skips. I think. Not sure what they're playing
What is
entirely.
that?
I think they
Are they
might.
trying to jam the red one into the yellow end?
I think that's a shot for 2.
Well, no.
They need a couple for sure.
At least 2.
Oh, that doesn't make a lot of. Well,
Well, yeah, it does.
The
It's,
red?
it's for 2.
well, they're trying.
The red combination is for 2.
But where's the? Oh, I see. They're gonna force the red one out. I didn't notice it.
And maybe if you try and get fancy with it, you roll over there, catch that.
Yeah, I doubt that's gonna hit by that point. The transfer's not gonna be there, and I don't think the angle's. It's probably going close to a 90-degree angle. But, well, okay. Well, they're certainly running down.
Coming down. There's weight.
Are they running or is that a?
And it will be wide.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Through
it has
the
been running
post.
straight here today. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's,
not too surprised, but
But
Damn.
you know, this puts them in a not a very convenient situation where they have to get 5 in the last end to tie.
Indeed. So we'll zoom out, see what's going on there.
If current trends hold, I think we might be looking at a midway shake.
yeah, he's the one controlling the joystick.
That's awesome. How's the microphone?
Oh, the microphone is great. Tommy Lentz, the Minnesota skip.
Joining us now from the ice, just off skate. Tell us about the game.
Oh, it was the ice was really good.
Come down to the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all right, we're using his microphone that he.
Oh, is it your mic?
He has a USB microphone. It's mine.
Yeah, no, I brought it just in this kind of
And there's a camera right there that you can say hello to your friends at home.
We're in the corner there.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, this is a really tech setup we have here.
This is so cool. Yeah, no, the ice was really good. It's curling a lot.
Yeah.
Really fast. You can do a
Even
lot
on
of
sheet
speed
4,
race.
yeah.
Good to hear. And that is
Oh, that's
shakes
game at
on sheet 1. And we will have a final score of
It's 3 to 10.
3
So
to
RPI
10.
got another
Yes.
point, but
and RPI will end on a high note with the single.
that unfortunately will not be.
With the steal too, yeah.
With a steal, yes, with the steal of the single.
Well, let's direct our attention right back to sheet 3, where there's still a bit of high drama going on. Still, they're going to come back for the 8th end. The current score is 8-3 in favor of MIT, but Penn State has Hammer in the last end. As I always like to say, Hammer is good to have, but not to keep.
I like
In
that.
the last
I
end,
like that,
though,
Brian.
Yeah.
So we will be
Trying to
devoting
find
our
us a
commentary.
nice view here.
Well, I think at this point, MIT's just going to try to run rocks through.
Nothing else to do.
And a round of applause in the warm room for RPI and Nebraska. A game well played between two very, very good teams, I might add.
And so let's think about what we need, what both teams are after here. We have MIT, which is up 8-3. MIT is really going to just be playing incredibly conservatively here. They're going to be throwing lots of hits.
Keep it clear. You don't want
No.
any stones in play.
Nothing.
Nothing to hide behind and nothing to back. Keep it nice and clean.
And I believe that we are playing to the point of mathematical elimination here, which means that it is a possibility that that
They need to be sure.
MIT runs Penn State out of stones.
Okay, nice long guard here.
That's a first stone from Penn State thus far.
I think, typically we see teams trying to score large quantities going for the corner guards more traditionally.
Yeah.
So
I think that might have been a weight issue.
sure.
But we'll see what Red's trying to do here. Are they going to try to run it through?
For those of you who are still with us or just joining, as we conclude the first draw of the College Curling National Championships here in Rice Lake, Wisconsin, I am
Yeah.
Nelson Rogers, joined by Brian Lee and Sophie Legler. We are from Princeton Curling, and we are honored to have you with us today as we wrap up this, as we get close towards the finish of this draw. Just to remind everyone of the action that is coming up at 4:30, we have the University of Wisconsin-Madison taking on Bowdoin on sheet 1. Andy McDonald's rink from Arizona State taking on Syracuse on sheet 2. University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point taking on Harvard on sheet 3. And yours truly, the team out of Princeton, New Jersey, taking on the Rochester Institute of Technology in the Battle of the Tigers on sheet 4.
So stick around. We got more good stuff to come and a fresh crop of commentators because, boy, my eyes are
Do
getting...
you know who's replacing us, Brian?
I don't know, but I believe one of them might be the voice of Michigan Tech, who expressed a very keen interest in helping us commentate. That would be their alternate Noah Patterson, the voice of Huskies Curl. So I think we'll be looking forward to having him around.
And we'd like to extend one more thank you to some of our sponsors, including but not limited to State Farm, Ashley R. Headley, Dairy State Bank, the CCF Bank, Making More Possible, Edward Jones Investments, Forever Exteriors, real estate solutions. We make it easy for you.
Also, Thrivent Financial, Toboggan Run Dental, the office of Doctors Charles Chrysler and Rachel Engel, Cadillac Construction, LaPointe Tire and Automotive, and last but not least, Rice Lake Weighing Systems, all generous sponsors of the Rice Lake Curling Club in Rice Lake, Wisconsin.
On behalf of the athletes, we thank you very much for your generosity in
Likewise.
making this event possible.
Yes, we are coming to you live from Rice Lake, Wisconsin, where we are currently commentating. That will do. So that's another. That's two
How to
out.
play.
One more and
well, two more.
two more, and then it's
Two more,
game over.
yeah.
But yeah, but then I mean, either way, this is not comfortable.
I'd like to thank our 10 viewers who are sticking with us through this this last little bit here. Your support and your viewership means a lot to those of us. We love doing this for you guys, and we appreciate you taking the time to.
I might add, we're certainly having a good time as well. It's always a treat to be able to sort of offer our 2 cents on this sort of thing.
Absolutely, Brian. And suppose we'll be returning soon with more coverage.
I think so. I think
Your favorite Tigers.
I think yeah. Well, I got the impression that our performance this time around was acceptable, so I think we'll be invited back.
That's the hope.
We didn't say the 7 dirty words or anything like that. So. All right. Well, let's see what happened with Penn State. Just another guard there.
Ooh,
Yeah, if they get rid of
not
this
ideal.
one, no. It didn't
That
come
came
back.
up short.
Yeah, it didn't come back.
Definitely not what they call.
No.
But now you have 2 staggered guards that you can come hide behind. So
I do think
That's
that a hit
Not
reduction
a-
here will effectively steal
Not
it.
if a hip has anything to do with it. That's for sure.
yeah.
And that's
And not
that will get rid of it. That will get rid of yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, that will play.
They have 1 stone left, but I really don't think this is.
Yeah, so they're not technically mathematically
But-
eliminated, but they have a long guard that they most likely
Will not get in.
can't get their own shot
No.
and that one in.
Dire straits for Penn State, everyone.
Yes. And you know, it was really tight. It was looking real tight just a few ends ago. So I think unfortunately, it was maybe an imprudently planned shot that has widened that gulf between the two. What was initially just a seam that's turned into a gulf. But nonetheless, I've seen stellar recoveries, and Penn State is a very skilled team at that. So I'm not putting it past them to be able to catch up from this. But let's just hope this doesn't hog, which.
Well, you definitely need it in the house. Ouch.
And that
Oh boy.
remains to be seen whether or not
I mean,
Maybe.
technically they're not
They're
mathematically.
talking
eliminated.
about it.
talking about it. They're talking. Are they talking about it?
They're worth it.
And we'll play it. We'll play it as it
Alright,
lays.
might as well.
All right.
Keep getting to know
Play
the
ball.
ice.
I think that's a good point. I think sometimes you're not playing this.
First game of the tournament,
right.
might as well.
It's not for
take a
pride.
penny.
It's to read the ice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're going to be playing on this ice all week, and we might as well get to know it. Well, the stakes are not as high.
Absolutely.
Salient point, Brian.
Although I will say, I mean, when they bring in when they import the ice crew talent, the ice is it's very nice. It's luxurious, dare I say. Could eat off it. Just
Something
like
like
this,
that, Brian.
just like this delicious pecan pie from who made this?
It's from Norsk Nook. Here,
Norsk
it's a
Nook.
local.
We'd like to think
it's-
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, that will.
That's it right there.
That's well, handshake.
And Penn State is coming out. The teams are gathering, and that will be handshakes.
Will be handshakes.
Good game.
Everyone, we'd like to thank you for joining us today as we cover the first draw of the USA College Curling National Championship. My name is Nelson Rogers. This is Brian Lee, and we are joined by Sophie Legler and Sam Buge. We'd like to thank you for your viewership, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We hope that you'll join the broadcast in just a few hours at 4:30 for the second draw, in which pools C and D will take to the ice in their debut match of this 2024 College Curling National Championships. Thank you to all of our sponsors, and have a great afternoon, everyone.
Take care.